It was the morning of Tuesday, July 30th, 1985, at this apartment complex on the West Mall in Toronto's Etobicoke area. On the 20th floor, a little 8-year-old girl named Nicole was at home with her mother. A few minutes before 11 a.m. that morning, a friend of Nicole's arrived at the apartment lobby and buzzed the intercom to call Nicole. The two girls had plans to go swimming at the apartment's outdoor pool. Nicole promised her friend that she would be downstairs right away, so her friend stepped inside the lobby and waited. Almost immediately, Nicole left her apartment and would make her way down the narrow hallway towards the 20th floor elevators. Except no one knows for sure how far Nicole made it down that hallway. She may have disappeared right there, steps away from her own apartment. But if she did make it towards the elevator and inside one, little Nicole never showed up on the bottom floor where her friend was waiting. After her friend had waited approximately 15 minutes, she buzzed back upstairs and asked for Nicole. Jeanette, Nicole's mother, assumed nothing of it. Kids would be kids, and riding elevators was part of play, so Nicole's mother raised no concern. Eventually, Nicole's friend left to go swimming on her own. Hours would pass that day until Nicole's mother would realize something was terribly wrong. No one had seen Nicole at the pool that day, and Nicole never came home. That afternoon, the police were called, and 8-year-old Nicole was reported missing. Nicole Morin would become one of the most publicized missing children cases in Toronto's history. Her photograph would become instilled in the public eye in the days, weeks, and months following her disappearance. Yet almost 23 years later, Nicole, as we remember her, is calling us once again to find her. To date, there have been more questions than answers. Was Nicole murdered? Is she still alive?
The families of children who go missing always live in the hope that some way or other my child will be one of the ones that you hear about. The miracle case that happens in the United States and indeed in Canada as well, where a child is missing for years and years and then shows up alive and well.
Max Haines started as writer for the Sun newspaper more than 30 years ago. During his time at the Sun, he had a regular Sunday column, a full-page feature about crime. Having researched, interviewed, and written about more than 2,000 crime cases, Max Haines is an internationally known crime writer. He is the author of 25 best-selling anthologies of crime vignettes, and most recently has taken on a role with the Toronto Police acting as a volunteer consultant to their cold case squad.
In this complex that we are filming today, there was a swimming pool in the back of the building, and all the children were allowed to come and go as they wished in those days. And many of them put on their bathing suits in their apartments and went down to go for a swim. And to alleviate the tremendously hot weather, it was a day much like today, a warm, sultry day in the summer. It was July 30th, 1985, when Nicole went down on an elevator to visit her friend, and they talked on the telephone, and her friend waited for her, and they missed each other. There is some evidence that Nicole did make it to the ground floor, and then nothing. To Mrs. Morin, she was devastated, of course, and she was close to hysterical. When I interviewed her, she was showing me her child's report cards from school, that sort of thing, and kept her room exactly as it was, and she was keeping the room for Nicole's return. So she believed that someday she would see her child again. You live in hope, like Mrs. Morin lived in hope that Nicole would come back and occupy her room again like she did on a regular basis. And what can you say to these people? I mean, it's devastating to them. They are distraught, totally distraught, and will do anything to get back their child.
She didn't even get out of her own building before she disappeared. She was never seen leaving. She was never seen after walking out the door and closing it. And it's just scary. It put a fear in parents and children alike.